start, my boyfriend, 24, and I, 23, have been together for 4 years. I am a Swiftie, and I told him at the beginning of our relationship about her song, Call It What You Want, which has this line, I want to wear his initial on a chain around my neck. I pointed the line out, hoping for a necklace with his initial, and I wasn't disappointed. For the next few years, it was the same gift. Same gifts for Valentine's Day, our anniversary, my birthday, and Christmas. Different types of metals and fonts, and reassured me that they were all expensive and high quality from luxury brands. He offered this info voluntarily. I never asked him. He gave me bracelets, anklets, rings, earrings, and a waist chain. I asked him multiple times to stop with the initial jewelry, but he says he's not good at getting gifts. So I send him links to things I want and make sure to explicitly say I want him to get it for me. He ignores the links. I keep track of what he talks about and mentions. This year I bought him winter boots, the AirPod Max, and 2 video games. He loved all of them, and I was so happy to see him smiling. I asked him to buy me a coat and some nice Dior makeup, but he ignored me and got another necklace with his name on it. I opened it and started bawling in front of his family. Finally, I screamed at him to stop getting me this crap and threw the box at him. I told him I wanted the gifts I gave him back so I could return them and get something I really wanted and buy him a necklace with my name on it for Christmas instead. He said that all the jewelry he's bought cost thousands of dollars, how I was the one that wanted the jewelry in the first place, and that I'd become a completely different person. He accused me of not wanting to tell people about being in a relationship to make it easier for me to cheat on him and for being a gold digger. Am I the idiot? I'm usually afraid of direct confrontation, and I'm horrified about how I acted in front of so many people. I've gotten calls and texts from many family members about how I'm not allowed back and how there was no need for me to ruin Christmas for everyone. Edit. My boyfriend bought me around 15 pieces of jewelry with his name and initial. Did it again on Christmas after I asked him not to, and I made a scene in front of his family. He doesn't understand why I don't want any more jewelry and thinks I don't love him anymore. He accuses me of cheating whenever I attempt to go out without the jewelry. He's back home tomorrow. I have a lot to think about and talk about. We've talked on the phone, and he has said a few times he's not upset or mad at me, so we can just go back to normal. But I think he just wants to avoid the bigger conversation. Everyone's the idiot. You for your reaction. You can't control the initial crying, but the throwing, you could. Him because he's being lazy by getting you the same thing, despite you telling him not to, despite you giving him other ideas. Dump him. He's a walking red flag. The initial thing has become his way of trying to display ownership. He accused you of trying to cheat. My money's on his cheating, and he has a guilty conscience. He's trying to guilt and manipulate you into believing you're the problem. This is what I thought as well. He doesn't care what she wants. He just wants to display his ownership of her, and it's gross. Notice he said she's only requesting other gifts because she doesn't want people to know she's dating him so she can cheat on him? As if her wearing 15 necklaces with his initials on them could safeguard against that or something. OP, find someone who listens to you. Doesn't accuse you of cheating because you don't want 101 pieces of name jewelry. Someone who puts the same effort into the relationship that you do. Not the idiot. How do people not understand that he's been buying her necklaces, bracelets, rings, etc. with his initials for every celebration for years now? Who does that? And after she explicitly told him to stop and gave him other suggestions for what she would like. This was the absolute last straw after years of the exact same stupid gift. She was driven to it. I'm sorry, but throwing a gift at someone in front of their family is not a good move. If they didn't like you, they likely won't now. No family's going to be okay with their son/brother's partner throwing a gift at them and then demanding all the gifts back. Throwing something at someone is actually abusive. Your behavior with the present was grossly inappropriate. No one told you to buy him $1,000 worth of gifts. That was your choice alone. Since it's a recurring problem, start getting him a similar gift for every occasion too. Maybe it'll sink in. OP, have you tried wearing all 15 necklaces at the same time? Every time you go out? Especially in front of his friends, colleagues, and family? If he wants you tagged with his ownership, I say roll with it, until he sees the reaction the 15 necklaces are getting from the other people. It would have been a much better move for Christmas Day with his family. Turn up wearing all 15 and smile, and add the 16th one to your neck. Oh, darling, this is exactly what I wished for but didn't have. My wife's sister, Alice, 29, is currently 5 months pregnant. She and her boyfriend, the baby's father, have hit a rough patch, and Alice came to stay with us. She's been living with us for about 6 weeks now. Her job allows her to work from home, so she spends all her time at our house. Both my wife and I work outside of the home, so Alice is at home alone. For the most part, she's a good house guest. She's not overly messy and is most pleasant to be around. But pregnancy is weird. I understand hormones are a thing. Alice will have mood swings and gets really emotional really easily. She also gets cravings, which have fallen on me to solve for some reason. My wife has sent me out of the house at all hours of the day to get something for Alice, or send me on errands to pick something up specifically for Alice. When I protest to my wife, she says that Alice is going through an incredibly hard time, and we need to be supportive of her. I blew up at my wife when she sent me out to get Alice some fast food at 1 a.m. this past Saturday. I told my wife she should go, but she said she had to get up early for an appointment the next day. I ended up going but told my wife that I was done with this because I'm not an errand boy, nor am I the father of Alice's kid. The next day, it was just Alice and me at our house while my wife was out running errands. I made myself a sandwich for lunch, and when Alice saw it, she said it looked really good and asked if I could make her one too. I told her the ingredients were still on the counter, so she could make one herself. She said she was feeling lightheaded and needed to sit down, but that some food would help her. I tried to tell her no, but she started getting emotional and saying how hard pregnancy is when you don't have a partner. So I said fine and went to make her a sandwich. But then she told me that I'd have to heat the lunch meat up because her doctor told her not to have lunch meat unless it's heated up first. At that point, I told her that I was not her baby's daddy, nor was I her servant. I told her I tried to be supportive and helpful, but I was done playing her partner's role. I told her that out of courtesy, I've given her privacy regarding her relationship issues, but that she's going to need to figure out a plan soon because this current situation isn't working for me anymore. Alice started crying, and I ended up leaving to give myself a chance to cool down. My wife was waiting for me when I got home and immediately laid into me. She told me I was a huge idiot for not just making Alice a sandwich, and an even bigger idiot for threatening to kick her out. She said that I should have known better than to bring up her relationship, and that it was a huge jerk move. My wife has always said that this would be temporary while Alice figures her stuff out. Still, the further Alice's pregnancy goes, the less progress I see toward a solution. Not the idiot. This isn't about a sandwich. It's about your wife pressuring you into making you into your sister-in-law's servant. I would ask if there's anywhere else for sister-in-law to go. 6 weeks is a long time. And yeah, she should be making long-term plans. However, if she really can't leave, you need to talk to your wife about boundaries. Alice is an adult, and she can make her own sandwich or get her own food at 1 a.m. I'm also curious as to why his spouse isn't the one bending over backward for Alice, even though it's her saying that they need to be supportive of her. Why doesn't the wife go at 1 a.m. to pick up food for Alice, or go to the grocery store to satisfy Alice's cravings? It's her sister who's pregnant, not the OP's. The further Alice's pregnancy goes, the least progress I see toward a solution. You know that kid will be growing up in your home, right? Because Alice is having a tough time raising a 1-year-old by herself. Put your foot down. Your wife will do all the errands from now on. Ask your wife when Alice is moving out and what the plan is. Should you start decorating a room for the kid? In all honesty, asking about decorating the baby's room isn't a bad idea. If your wife even thinks about it for 1 second, you've already got your answer in regards to what's really going on and what they have planned. Who knows? Maybe OP's wife will try to convince OP to put his name on the birth certificate. LOL. So my siblings and I have an older uncle that we're pretty sure doesn't know our names. He calls us the big one, Blondie, the boy, the hag, and the little one. My youngest sister, a teen, is the hag. When she was little, she had a different name. I can't remember what it was, but when she got older, she started to look exactly like our mom. He and our mom mess with each other, and he calls her a witch and an old hag. He started calling my little sister the hag. She didn't mind it when we were younger. She used to join in the teasing, but now that she's older, she hates it. She returned his birthday present to him because he had written the hag on the label. This Christmas gifts this year were labeled with all of our nicknames, except my sister's had the Grouch written on it instead of the hag. My sister threw a fit. She was yelling that all of us have nice nicknames except for her, and this BS isn't funny anymore, and he needs to use her real name if he wants respect from her. It was a really over-the-top tantrum, especially considering he got her the nicest gift out of all of us. I told her she needed to get over herself and realize that our uncle isn't going to change our names he's called us since we were babies. He doesn't mean any harm by them, and she just needs to accept hers. Now she's calling me a witch, and my parents say I should have left her alone and want me to apologize to her to keep the peace. Am I the idiot for telling her she needs to get over herself and the fact that she doesn't like the nickname he gave her? You are the idiot. You literally say he isn't changing nicknames that you've had since babies, yet he's changed hers several times, and they aren't nice. She might look like your mom, but she isn't your mom, so he shouldn't be taking their inside jokes out on her. He is an idiot and so are you. Who cares what gift he got her? Are you mad about the gift or mad that she no longer has a crappy nickname? Right? Can't remember their names, but can consistently remember to use the same insulting nicknames? Please. Also, the entire family are idiots. Who goes along with calling a kid the hag as a family nickname? What even is this family dynamic? Poor girl. How much do you want to bet that OP is Blondie? Pretty sure she is. I also suspect she's the next up from the youngest, because this has the tone of a displaced baby of the family. I wonder how old she'll be when she clues in to how a guy like her uncle probably regards people he thinks of as a blondie. OP, would you like being called a freaking hag? He doesn't mean any harm. Well, he's causing harm, and you're dismissing it. Maybe try putting yourself in your sister's shoes. Have some empathy. You definitely owe your sister an apology. How would you like it if she started calling you the witch? That's her nickname for you. And sorry, you just have to suck it up because she gave it to you. My father-in-law came over to talk to my husband because he wasn't answering his calls. He seemed pretty upset when he realized he wasn't home and was having dinner with a potential business contact. He wanted to know where the dinner was taking place, but I wasn't sure, and my husband never answered when I tried to call him. My father-in-law wanted me to keep trying because he said he had something time-sensitive to discuss with my husband, but wouldn't tell me what. So I offered to find out where he was with Find My iPhone, as my father-in-law made it seem serious. He went to the restaurant where they were at, and I don't know exactly what happened, but my husband was angry at me when he came home. He said I shouldn't have helped his dad find him, and that he wasn't happy that I was using Find My iPhone to keep tabs on his location. I told him I don't keep tabs on him, but he said he didn't want to hear it. He's still upset with me. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. If your husband wanted to talk to his father, he would have answered his calls. You don't know what father-in-law wanted to speak to him about, and time-sensitive could mean today, this week, or even this year. If I was at work, which dinner with a potential business contact is, I wouldn't want my parent randomly showing up and interrupting us to talk about family business or whatever. Exactly. Why would you send your father-in-law to interrupt your husband's business meeting? You must not like your husband being employed or making money for your family. I'd be angry at you too. If it was an emergency, father-in-law would have said what it was. Anything else should have waited until after dinner. How embarrassing for him. You repeatedly called for a non-emergency while your husband was with a business client. You give your father-in-law, who's already railroaded you, your husband's location, using a means meant for emergencies. And what kind of person goes to the restaurant where their son is at a business meeting to discuss a very sensitive situation in a public place? You should have realized that this was not going to end well. OP, you sound dense and naive. Yeah, I cringed so hard when I read that they kept repeatedly calling him while he was in a business meeting. I assumed the husband worked with his father and was trying to go out on his own, or his father didn't trust him to make decisions. At least that's what this move sounds like. You all have major boundary issues. For the last couple of years, I avoided spending Christmas with my family because I've had a bad relationship with my brother, and my parents defend him when he says some pretty awful things. And we've had small Christmases because of the global issue. But this year we were going to my grandparents' place, and there would be lots of family there. So I thought it would be easier to just avoid my brother, and there'd be more people who might be annoyed at my brother if he decided to be a jerk, so he might not. But like every time my brother decided to drink too much and make fun of me for my weight, he says this joke where he pulls food away from me at dinner when I'm about to take some, and he says I don't need it because I'm fat, or says I should go jog a lap around the house to earn it. He did it multiple times, and every time I told him he needed to stop acting like a jerk. Like always, my parents ignored him, but so did everyone else, except my uncle, who laughed at me with my brother. I told my uncle to stop laughing because it encouraged him, but he didn't. I ended up leaving halfway through dinner and taking all the presents I brought with me. I didn't make a fuss. I just picked up my bags and left because we hadn't done presents yet, and they were all still together in my bags. Later, multiple family members told me I was being childish and trying to ruin Christmas for everyone by walking out and taking the gifts. They said I brought the whole mood down for the rest of the night, and everyone had a bad time because of me. Even though a few of them agreed my brother was being a jerk, they said they didn't do anything wrong, and I punished them for no reason. I think that sitting around and not saying anything when he was making fun of me was wrong. And I feel like if they weren't even willing to say a single thing against him or stand up for me, they don't deserve to get gifts from me. Also, I think it's a bit of an overreaction to say I ruined Christmas just because I quietly walked out and because they all got one or two fewer presents than they would have. Oh man, your family was more upset by losing your presents than caring for your presents. Not the idiot OP. This is a pretty typical and backward family dynamic. Everyone agrees that the bully or abuser is wrong, but they also agree that the victim should keep quiet to keep the peace. Plan something different for next year. Bullying disguised as jokes is still bullying and unacceptable behavior. I'd flat out tell them that letting your brother harass you and laugh at you without saying anything was wrong. Letting someone you care about be treated that way is wrong, and your leaving was the consequence of everyone's lack of action. I tell them that if they wanted you there, they should act like it and act like you matter instead of letting you be dumped on. I think you made a good choice by leaving. The fact that you left quietly shows a level of class and respect that your family seems to lack. I hope you find others to spend the holidays with who actually understand the meaning of the holiday spirit. Find some happiness and don't let them guilt you about it. Blood relative doesn't mean you need to absorb mistreatment.